never went to combat. I did have injuries while I was in the service, and I applied for those, and I did it before I got out the service because that's what I was told I was supposed to do. And I just got denied at every turn. And so after 3 years, I stopped trying to pursue it because I'm just like, look, I'm just gonna make it. I'm gonna survive, and I'm gonna make it through. I'm tired of asking you for help for something that you know that I have military ties to, that I was on waivers for doing PT, that I saw a chiropractor while I was in the military for 2 years before I even got out, that you guys didn't give us the right chairs to sit down for 12 hours a day and process these papers. You know good and daggone well I had 20/20 vision when I got in. I did not have 20/20 vision when I got out. But you want to sit up here and tell me that it wasn't because I was sitting at a computer for 12 hours. I couldn't also look away for 10 minutes every hour or get up and walk around for 10 minutes every hour, because what you doing? Why are you up out your seat? Where are you going? Now, if I smoked, I guess I had a reason to get up and go do something. But since I wasn't a smoker, I didn't have that leverage to do so. So fighting for the things that you know that you're due and then giving up, I'm just like, every time I go to see the chiropractor, they told me that it wasn't chronic. So I go to the chiropractor for 2 years in the military, and the Air Force didn't have chiropractors, so I went to brag 3 times a week. And then right before I got out, it was down to once a week. And then once every 2 weeks. And then I'm out of the military, 3 years out of the military, still seeing a chiropractor. So for 5 years, I'm seeing a chiropractor, but it's not a chronic. I'm out of the military. And now, when I was going to start up again, over 10 years, and I'm still seeing a chiropractor, and you're still paying for it. It's definitely chronic. I have all my military records for my medical records too, because they tell you to get a copy of it. Make sure you get a full copy of everything. I have it all marked, but I was on waivers for weeks. I couldn't sit down. They had to give me something special to sit down on, because if I sat for too long, if I stood for too long, and I couldn't run, and I could only walk for a certain amount of time, it's chronic. I had something wrong with my back, and and I was a gymnast before. I didn't have no problems. I did gymnastics and ran track. I was good athletically until I was forced to sit in a certain way that was not ergonomically correct, and it was directly tied to my job, but they don't want to give me that. So, being tired mentally of fighting for years for something that you're due is something that I think we all take with us too, because if they don't want to give you something, they don't want to give you your ties to actual being in combat on the missions, after so long, you just gonna give up.
Were you ready to be deployed?
Yes, both times I was ready. I was so ready to the point of where when we got the call from up top that our unit is going to be deployed, I went to my superiors and told them to send me in first. And that's what we call advanced party. Advanced party are the Marines who go to Iraq and set up before the rest of the unit gets there. So I was like, I'm a leader from the front. And both times I did the same thing. As soon as I found out we was going, I went right to my superiors. I said, hey, look, can you put me down for advanced party? That's what they call it, advanced party. I was always ready. I knew at some point that, it was a likelihood that my unit was going to be deployed. We were the only unit at that time, I think we still are, infantry unit here in Houston, in this region. And I was a part of headquarters and service battalion of 1st Battalion, 23rd Marines. So it's not just Marines in Houston, but we were based here. So all the Marines within the Texas area were a part of that initiative. But yeah, I was ready both times. I volunteered to go advanced party because I said I'm gonna lead from the front. So when my Marines get there, they're gonna already know what time it is. You know what I'm saying? That's what real leaders do. They don't send their people into harm's way without giving them the game on the way in.
So you can say some of your PTSD came from growing up in the streets and a combination of being a war combat veteran?
Now that I know that, thanks to therapy, I don't know. I know we talked offline a little bit. I don't know if you really want to go through that. I said earlier that PTSD is based in trauma. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us, you know, that was, you know, in the streets doing, you know, I watch how I say this because I'm not trying to criminalize myself, but those of us who were doing things that we weren't supposed to be doing, mm-hmm. and we seen things, been involved in things that were very traumatic. At that time, when we was out in the streets, we didn't think it was traumatic. We just, hey, man, if they want it, you know, let's go with it. Always looking over my shoulder, trying to see, okay, man, these folks finna go and try to get me. They must have heard I went over here and did this and did this and did this. Then, on top of that, you know, going into combat, you know, it just really ignited what I was already dealing with. But I do want to point this out. If you come from our background, and I'm going to make this generalized, a lot of this PTSD and mental illness was ingrained in our DNA. You know, whether we accept it or not is another story. You know, our people, our grandfathers, our grandmothers, all the suffering that they went through to get us to this point, a lot of that same suffering dates all the way back to slavery. So just imagine that coming all the way down to you, and then you turn around and have to go and deal with being in a combat, but in another country. You understand what I'm saying? So it was just a mesh between both. Originally, when I was diagnosed with PTSD, non-war related. If you look up my file, it says non-combat related PTSD first. Then later on, it was determined the extension of that came from being in combat. So that only raised it up from PTSD to now chronic PTSD.